Hello there friends, this is Harvinder Singh, and in today's video we are going to code this countdown website, and we are going to use HTML, CSS and JavaScript. This is going to be a really fun website to code, and I have kept this code and the explanation really simple and beginner friendly. So yeah, I hope you will learn something from this tutorial. So without wasting any of your time, let's get straight into our VS Code and start coding. Okay, so here we are in our VS Code, and here we have this folder countdown that have only an image that we are going to use in our project and nothing else. So let's start our coding section by making some files. Index.html is the file that we need. Okay, I think I have made this file inside the image folder, so let's bring it out. Yeah, I want to move. Okay, yeah, now it is okay. So and I would like to make here style.css also, and I would like a app.js file for our JavaScript section. So let's begin with the HTML section. That is going to be the easiest one, and let's start by bringing up this boilerplate, and let's change the title to countdown because that's what we are building, right? So in the body section, now let's start by making let's start with a container div. This container div is going to be the parent div of the other div that we are going to contain in this one. Now inside this container div we are going to have our countdown, so let's make a div for that also. Let's make a div with the class countdown. And okay, before making the countdown, let us give some tagline, right? Some tagline like we are coming soon. Wow, this is so creative. Okay, so now see what here in the countdown, what we are going to do is we are going to display our time in 4 units. The 4 unit is going to be day, hour, minute and second. So what we are going to do is we are going to make a separate div for each of the time unit. Okay, so let's start by making a div named day container, and inside this day container we will hold the day unit of time. Okay, so what we are going to do is we are going to use a h2. Yeah, if here we are using h2, so let's use h1 here for the tagline. Okay, now we are going to use h2, and here we are going to define our time. Let's for example 05 and h3 with day. Okay, let's give it a class of day, and this is all about our day container. Now let's copy this, or let's duplicate this day container 3 more times for our other units also. So now let's space it out so that it is easy for you and me to understand, and let's space them out a little bit, and yeah, here we go. Now we have this 4 different div. Okay, the day container was ready. Now let's go to this one. This is going to be the hour container, right? So let's capital H here we need in our h3. Now the third div is going to hold our minute, right? Yeah, so minute container, I'm capital in h3, and the last one is going to be our second. So let's replace this day with second. Okay, so let's save this, and let's have a look. Open with live server. Let's see what we have. Okay, we have this simple website. We are coming soon, 5 day, 5 hour, 5 minute, 5 second, everything 5. Let's not worry about that. We are going to change this static number with JavaScript, but for now I think we are done with our JavaScript part, and Yeah, now we can move on to our style section. But before moving on to our style section, let's first link our CSS file. Link CSS. Okay, so we are linking our CSS file, that is style.css. Okay, so after linking our CSS file, now let's link our JavaScript file as well. Script.source, and the source is going to be app.js. Let's save this, and I think we are done with this index.html part. Now let's move on to our style section. Now in our style section, first thing first, let's remove all our margin to 0, and let's remove all our padding also, and box sizing, border box. Let's save this and let's have a look. Okay, so all our margin and paddings are gone. Now let's move forward with the to the container div. Our main parent div that we have is our container div, and let's give it a width of 100%, a height of 100 VH, and now we can give it a background image. We have in our file, we have in our folder, that is image / sunrise. Okay, now let's save this and now let's have a look. Okay, it is working, but yeah, it is working, but not completely. We have to make it work. Okay, so now let's give it a background position of center, and background size is going to be cover, and we can give background repeat, no repeat. Save this and let's have a look. Yeah, now it is better. This is in black. I want this in white. We want our font to be in white, so let's give it a color white. Let's save this, and here we go. Let's bring this text and everything in this container div to middle. So display, flex, justify content, center, align items, center. Let's save this and let's have a look again. Okay, so everything is in the center, but let's change the flex direction. Flex direction is going to be column. We change the flex direction, so the we are coming soon is here and this is here, but we are having difficulty in seeing this. So let's do one thing. What we can do here is, can we do the text black? No, let's do this. We are going to do our background darker. Okay, so let's do, okay, let's come here, background image. Let's add linear gradient. Okay, linear gradient, comma, and inside this let's add RGBA. We want black color, so 000, and we want a transparency of 0.7. Okay, so let's add one more, RGBA 0, 0, 0.7. Okay, so let's save and let's see. Okay, I think we missed something here. So what we have done, so linear gradient, RGBA. Okay, sorry, I'm so sorry, I have given this extra bracket for no reason, because this RGBA is not going to be in the bracket. Okay, now let's save this. I think this should work, and yeah, the background is darker. So now we can see this clearly, and I think yes, we are done with our container section also. So our container div styling is done. Now let's move on to our h1. The h1, this is our h1. We are coming soon, so let's style that. And nothing much to do with that. We are just going to increase it font size to, let's suppose, 5 rem, and let's have a look. Maybe a little bit bigger. Let's give it 8 rem, and yeah, I think this is okay. Okay, so now let's give it a border 1 rem, solid white. Save this. Let's have a look. Okay, we need some padding, and padding, let's give it a padding of 2 rem. Yeah, that's fine. Now let's come to our countdown section, right? Yeah, so let's select our countdown section, countdown div. Let's style this countdown div, and firstly I want to give them a display flex. So display is going to be flex, justify content center, align items center, not baseline, it is going to be center. Save this and let's have a look. Okay, that is good. And now these time text that we have written 05, these were h2, right? So now let's give them a font size as well, and we can give them a font size of I guess 8 rem. The same with the heading. Yeah, it is okay, but I think that should be bigger than the heading one, so let's give it a 10 rem. And yeah, now it is looking good, but these day, hour and minute and second are way too small, so let's make them a little bigger. Font size, we can give them 7 rem. Save this and let's have a look. I think they are much bigger than I wanted them to. Let's give it 3 rem, and yeah, now the unit size is okay. I want to space them out a little bit because they are like too close and we don't want them to be this close. So let's space them out. And what we can do is, what I noticed is that I have not given any of these time container a common class name, right? So let's give them a common class name, and we can give it a time. Let's give the name time to all these 4 time container. Time. So now what we can do is we can style them together. So we are going to connect, we are going to grab this time div. What we can do is we can give them a padding of 2 rem. Let's save this and let's have a look. And yeah, it is too close. Let's give it a 5 rem. Okay, 5 rem. Okay, yeah, now it is way better, but now let's stick to 7 rem. Yeah, this is okay, this is fine. And yeah, one more thing I noticed, that I need here align items center. Align items, sorry, not align items. I'm always getting confused between align items and text align. So I want text align here, text align center. Now let's save this, and yeah, see, now these text are in the center, right? So that's what I want, and I think with this we have completed our CSS portion as well. So now we can move to the most interesting portion, most interesting part, that is JavaScript. Okay, so here we are in our JavaScript section, and this is the most important section because here we are going to make things work. Till now we have this static website, and now we are going to make it a real countdown with JavaScript. So what we are going to do is let's have some basic, not basic, I mean let's have some rough idea of what we are going to do in this section. We want to replace our dummy time, that is 5 days, 5 hours, 5 minutes, 5 seconds, with real timer, with real countdown timer. Okay, so we have to replace this dummy time with real time. So let's start with selecting all this element that have dummy time in it, and we are going to select it with their class name. Here in index.html you can see I have given each one of this dummy time their class name. Okay, I have given each one of them a separate class name according to the unit that I want them. So let's select all these classes. So const day equals to document dot query selector dot day. Okay, so we are done with our day class. Now let's similarly we want to select more 3 classes, so let's copy this more 3 times and let's replace day with hour. So here we have our hour class. Let's select minute and let's replace day with second for our second class. Okay, so now we have access to all those class where our dummy time lies. We can mess around with it anytime we want, but to replace we want real time, right? Real timer. So what we can do is let's first get a time that we want to count down to. Okay, so const, let's name it target time. So this is going to be the time that we are counting down to. So how we are going to get it? We are going to get it by new date, and we are going to write the date here that we want our countdown to count to. So let's add January 1st, January 1, 2023, because new year is near. So dot get time. Now what is get time? This is a JavaScript function that basically returns the number of milliseconds from January 19 some. Okay, let me show you the exact date what this get time is, because I also don't remember the date. So get time in JS and JavaScript date get time method, and here it is. Get time returns the number of milliseconds since January 1, 1970. Okay, so basically it returns the millisecond from January 1, 1970. So by doing this we are going to have number of milliseconds that have passed from January 1, 1970 to this date. Let's see what we have first. Console.log target time. Let's have a look. Inspect, and okay, so this is what we have. Okay, it's fine. Let's move ahead. Now we have our final time that we want. So now we can make a function, name countdown. So inside this function what we are going to do is we are going to get the current time. So const current time is equals to new date dot get time. Okay, so this also returns the millisecond, number of millisecond, and so now we have the target time that we need and we have the current time. So what we need to count down is the difference between these two, right? So let's do const difference is equals to current time, sorry, not current time, target time minus current time. So this will give us the difference between these two time, and we want to count that time. Console.log. Now let's see what we have. Okay, so let's look at the difference. Okay, but we want our countdown to update every second, right? So we are going to do a set interval of 1 second, right? Set interval, the name of the function, countdown, comma 1000. And let's have a look here. Inspect console. Yeah, you can see our time is getting updated every 1 second. Okay, so now we have our time, but the problem is that our time is in the millisecond, and we need to convert that millisecond into day, hour, minute and second. So how we are going to do that is, we are going to do that by using simple mathematics and not much of the code. So we are going to use here maths, a lot of maths. So let's see how we can do that. Let days is equals to difference divided by, difference is the time that we have in millisecond, right? Constant difference target time dot current time. So difference is, we are going to divide difference with 1000 into 60 into 60 into 24. Okay, let's give them into bracket, and that's how we are going to get the number of days. And if you are thinking like where this number came from, then I think you should go back to the standard 10th maths and see how time work. But here we can do something for you. Let's see. 1 day is equals to 24 hour. We know this thing very well. 1 hour is equals to 60 minute, right? We know this also. 1 minute is equals to 60 second, right? We know this also very well. 1 second is equals to 1000 milliseconds. Okay, so 1000 into 60 into 60 into 24, 1000 into 60 into 60 into 24. Now you see where this number came from, right? So that is how we convert our day into that is how we convert our milliseconds into the number of days, right? But we have to add a prefix here. So that prefix is going to be math.floor. Now math.floor, what is math.floor? Math.floor is a JavaScript function that rounds down to the largest integer, right? For example, let me show you. Let's suppose we have this 5.9. okay, now if when we apply math.floor, it will give us 5. It will round down to the largest integer. Okay, so rounding down, 5.9 is 5. So that's what math.floor does, because we don't want our time don't want our number of days in 10.4 days, right? So that is why we are using math.floor. Now similarly, let's find out, let r equals to math.floor is going to be the same. And how we are going to find this number of hours in millisecond, right? So we have already found out the number of days. Okay, so what we are going to do is we are going to use the remainder that is left. Okay, so difference divided by 1000 into 60 into 16 to 24. So the remainder that was left here, we are going to use that. So how we are going to know the remainder here? For remainder we use mod. So difference mod, and we are going to use the number. So this will give us the remainder, and we want to divide this with, see, our this part is already done, our day part is done, so let's remove it. So now we are going to divide it with 1000 into 60 into 60. Okay, so 1000 into 60 into 60. So that's how we can get the number of hours. And I think it's going towards a lot of mathematical type of the video, and I think it's too much of maths for a JavaScript video. And so I hope I have given you the basic idea of how we are getting these units. So what I'm going to do is I am going to write the code for minute and second, but I'm not going to explain that. Okay, if you have any doubt, you can ask me in the comment section and I will help you with it. So let's quickly write down the code for let minutes, so not second, minutes equals to math dot floor difference mod 1000 into 60 into 60 divided by 1000 into 60, and let's do seconds is equals to math dot floor difference mod 1000 into not 100, 1000 into 60. Let's keep them inside the bracket and divide it with 1000, and that's the maths part. Okay, now it's completely okay if nothing of these things make sense to you, because it's basically simple maths and you can always go back to your basic maths and find out how times work, and you can see these all things and you will understand it. Okay, if you have any doubt, you can ask me in the comment section. Now we have this day is minutes and second. Let's first check that the mess that we have done here, does it even work, because console.log, and let's check it using backticks. Days, hours, minutes, seconds. Let's save this and let's see if it is working or not. I hope it works. And yeah, it is working. 39 days, 4 hours, 7 minutes, and yeah, every second it is counting. So that is a very good news for us. Okay, so now we have the time in the unit that we want, and we just have to replace this dummy time with the time that we have. Now this last part is going to be really easy. We already have selected, we already have the access to our elements, right? So let's start replacing one by one. Let's change the text inside this class, right? So that's what we are going to do. So day, this day we are selecting day dot inner text, and I'm going to replace this inner text with days. Okay, so days that we find out here, this days. Now let's save this and let's have a look. It should work, and yeah, here we can see 39 days. Okay, so similarly we are going to do with our hour dot inner text, and we are going to replace it with the hours that we found here. Okay, that we calculated here. So 4 hours, so that's cool. And similarly we can do this thing, and we can replace our hour with minute class, not minute class, and yeah, that's good. And we can replace this last hour with second, and that does the job. Second dot inner text equals to seconds. So let's save this and let's have a look. So we have our countdown up and running. Okay, but I can see a problem that it looks a little incomplete, right? Because before we were having a 0 if the unit is in single digit. So we can do that. That is something again very easy. What we can do here is that, so for that what we can do here is we can add a little ternary operator, and ternary operator is a short form of if and else statement. We just have to add the logic that if the days are greater than 9, then just display it as it is, but if it is less than 9, I mean less than 10, then just add a 0 before it. Okay, so let's do that. If days are greater than 9, then if days are greater than 9, then display days as it is, or else if it is not, then add 0 before this, before days, right? And that's it. Let's copy this and we will make changes, because it is going to be tough to write that again and again. Yeah, so this is for hours. So if hours is greater than 9, then let it be hours and hours. Okay, if it is not, then just add a prefix 0. Similarly, let's select all this at once. So we're going to change it with minutes, and similarly with seconds. Now let's save this and let's have a look. Wait, we just have, I just saw we have 2 semicolons here. I don't know where it came from, and let's remove, and let's save this and let's have a look again. And yeah, we can see that our 0 is working fine before our single digit unit. So that's all about the countdown, and basically we have this much time left in the new year. So yeah, I hope you learned something new from this video, and see you soon with the new one.